Absolute value is a concept basically that you can think of as how many units is a number or whatever's in the absolute value sign from 0. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is to think of absolute value as stripping any number of its negative sign. So here's the symbol for absolute value. You have one line, and then we'll say we have like a number in here. And that says absolute value of 4. That's how you would read that. You could have absolute value of -16. You could have absolute value of 32 minus 60. So that's how you read those problems out loud. So basically it's asking, so how many units away from 0 is 4? If we look at this one. How many units away from 4 is 0? It's 4 units. So the absolute value of 4 is 4. How many units away from 0 is -16? Well, -16 is 16 units away. So the answer of what is the absolute value of -16? The answer is 16. Another way to look at those two problems there, or any problem with absolute value, is just to say if whatever number is in there, if there's a negative sign, just drop the negative sign. That's one easy way to do that. For this third example, you actually have to do that subtraction out before you apply the negative sign. So 32 take away 60, that's going to give us -28. And then the absolute value of a negative number is just the positive number of it. So it's going to be +28. So there you go. That's like the real basic part of absolute value. Alright, so let's do some absolute value problems that are maybe a little bit more complex. These are like order of operations, and you really just want to take your time with them. There's nothing to rush through. Think of absolute value as a set of parentheses. So before you start using, you have to like deal with the absolute value first. So let's go over to this guy first if we're going to treat it as like a parentheses. And we need to do the 4 take away 12. So we're going to recopy. Again, a lot of people don't like recopying, but it's good housekeeping. And what is 4 take away 12? Well, it's going to be -8. Now we can apply the absolute value to the numbers inside of them. So the absolute value of -4 is +4. We're keeping that subtraction sign there because we have no right to change it. And then the absolute value of -8 is +8. Finally, what can we do last? We need to subtract. 4 take away 8 is simply -4. So it's just a matter, it's not that it's super difficult or complex, it's just that you really need to slow down, think things through and do things in the right order, and then you'll be okay with it. So, alright, let's try another one. Let's see if I can kick it up a notch. Alright, this is the absolute value of 8 minus 15 minus the absolute value of -8, and all of that absolute value. Cool. Looks beauteous. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go inside the big absolute value, and we're going to do this guy first. What is 8 take away 15, first of all? 8 take away 15 is -7. We're not ready to pop it out of the absolute value yet. We will on the next step. And I guess we could take care of this guy since we're ready. What is the absolute value of -8? It is plain old 8. Alright, let's move sideways. Now, what is the absolute value of -7? The absolute value of -7 is +7. So each time we go, we're just replacing one thing at a time. Now we need to do that subtraction. What is 7 take away 8? And that is going to be -1. And finally, we can apply the absolute value sign to -1, which is just going to give us a +1. All right, I'm going to write one down, and I want you to copy it in your notebook. And then I want you to hit pause, and then I want you to do it out, and then hit play and see if we get the same answer. So the absolute value of 5 take away 12 minus the absolute value of -7, and then the ending absolute value. Alright, copy that down and see if you can see what you get for an answer, and then pause it while you're getting your answer, and then hit play and see if we get the same thing. Okie dokie. First thing we're going to do is this guy on the inside. So we copy that. What is 5 take away 12? That's going to be -7. Minus, I'm going to take care of this too. The absolute value of -7 is +7. Alright, and now the absolute value of -7 is +7. And then finally, 7 take away 7 is the absolute value of 0, which should just end up with 0. Absolute value of 0 is always positive, so you don't have to worry about that. Alright, cool. Let's do another one just in case you want a little more practice. Let's see. Okay, absolute value of 1 take away 2 minus absolute value of 5 take away 8. Alright, hit pause, solve that sucker out, and then hit play and see if we get the same answer. Alright, this one doesn't really have nested absolute values, like absolute values inside absolute values, so we're just going to do that part out first. 1 take away 2 is negative 1. We're going to do this guy next. 5 take away 8 is negative 3. And then we apply the absolute value to each of those numbers. The absolute value of negative 1 is 1. Can't change that subtraction sign. Absolute value of negative 3 is positive 3. And then 1 take away 3 turns out to be negative 2. Alright?